Hola everyone, my name is Carla Solorzano and today we're talking about wedding photography. And with me, our husband and wife and photography team, Atina and Mher. Hi Atina, hi Mher, welcome, bienvenidos.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys for accepting the invite. I'm really excited about today's topic because, well, I think all the wedding topics are exciting because we need to educate, our brides and grooms, and there's so much to say about wedding prep, specifically photography.
Yep.
So you guys are a photography team that have been doing it for quite a long time.
Yep.
So I would like to start by asking you to tell us a little more about how did you guys started and how did you guys get into the wedding industry and all that.
Okay.
All right. Are you taking the first one?
No, you do it. You're the photographer.
All right. So our story goes back quite a bit. I think we're on, I don't know, year 20 or something.
Wow.
I lost track a long time ago. So we are a husband and wife team. I should mention that.
Yeah.
And we started dating when Atina was in high school and I was in my first year at art school. So
at Art Center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. She can do the bragging for me.
No, it's important to know. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so we've obviously been together a long time and we've had completely different career paths in the beginning. She went to Ithaca College and UC Santa Cruz for creative writing. And I went to Art Center majoring in photography. So,
Okay.
life went on, we graduated. I started doing some work as, assisting other photographers. I shot a lot of commercial work, products, headshots, whatever I can get my hands on. I even did some graphic design work. So I just kept working. And then, and in the meantime, she's graduating from creative writing, getting a job working at a couple of publication.
Yeah, I wanted to be a book editor.
Yeah.
Like that was my dream. I wanted to be a book editor, and then I became one.
Yeah, and then
you did.
And then I hated it.
That happens.
And then she started getting into marketing.
Can I pause here
Yes.
for a minute? Okay, so there's this part of our journey that I love to talk about.
Oh, please,
So
I want to hear about it.
So when Mher started booking, small events here and there, little bit like a wedding here, a baptism here, he would be working on the post-production process, lightly retouching the photos, etc. And I would sit there, kind of watch him. I was fascinated on what he was doing. And there would be a photo of this like auntie, okay, who's dancing. She's in her groove, but there's like sweat stains on her like silk blouse. And I'm like, you're not going to include this photo in the gallery, are you? And he's like, no, look at the composition, look at this, look at that. And I'm like, yes, but the auntie who you don't know could be like the bride's mom, or just someone really important, doesn't look good. You don't ever want to put photos of anyone, women especially, who don't look good. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I think a female perspective, I shouldn't say female, but like sometimes a feminine perspective on stuff, it really helps, and I really do appreciate it because us guys see things a little differently. We kind of gloss over certain things that women pay attention to. So it's been a learning process from the time I started shooting weddings and events to now, where now I can pick up more, but it's always good to have that person double checking you on.
It's true. And I like that Tina said, like, you were looking at the artistic side of the photo.
Yeah.
And she was like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there like the rule became, as long as the bride looks fantastic, we don't care what anybody else.
Okay.
You know, like,
Well,
there's sometimes group photos where, you know, as hard as you try at the time to kind of wrangle them, have everyone look at the same direction, it's hard.
So hard.
You know, but as long as the bride looks flawless, it's accepted into the gallery.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So going back to our story,
Yes.
so she gets into marketing, and she worked for a couple of different companies doing marketing, and we kind of started using that experience that she was gaining into incorporating it into the wedding photo business. So it started as a part-time, she's kind of helping me out, and then at some point it kind of became a decision of like, are we dating the business, or are we marrying the business?
At some point, I had a full-time job doing marketing and branding. He was doing full-time commercial work, and we were doing weddings on the weekends. So it became having like 2 full-time jobs, and
a full-time business on top of it.
Right. Business on top of it. And so at some point I was like, okay, yeah, like we're still young, we have no kids, let's put more eggs in this basket. You love doing it. I enjoy, you know, meeting with the couples and taking care of the admin business side. I get to, you know, I'll handle all the marketing and business end of it, so that he could just concentrate on taking photos and processing and delivering.
Love it.
And let's just put more eggs in this basket and see where it takes us. And if like 2-3 years it's not yielding anything, we can always go back to, you know, jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least we're like, okay, we gave it a shot, it wasn't for us, like we can move on.
Right.
So
yeah,
that was about, I want to say end of 2014, beginning of 2015. We committed to our second marriage.
Yeah.
Our first marriage was in 2011.
So yeah, and it's really blessed us, and we haven't looked back since.
I mean,
it's really been an amazing, very rewarding experience for both of us.
Over the last 10 years, the wedding industry and the level of creativity and professionalism has increased tremendously. So whereas from 2005 to 2010, I could probably operate at not like as high a level and still work, because the whole industry was there. As it's kind of gone forward, it's every year you see the type of images and the type of production, the level is just going up and up and up. So at some point we had to become serious or step aside, because
there's also the technology too. Yeah. I mean, we went from film, you know, like our parents had there was one wedding photographer, you know, he had his spots, because you paid by film and prints, etc. But with the onset of digital cameras and digital files, you know, it allowed photographers to become creative without feeding into their profits.
Actually, and that's, now that she mentioned it, like had it not been for the shift from film to digital, I don't know if I would have ever been able to jump into wedding photography and event photography the way I did. Because when I graduated from college, we were still, digital had obviously been created, but it wasn't as popular or accessible. So we were still shooting on film. This is back in 2002. So digital cameras didn't really become popular till the late, I want to say after 2000.
10?
Before 2010, but from like 2005, 6, like that's when they started to really kick in. And even when they kicked in, the quality of images is not the same as it is today. Memory or storage space was a lot more expensive, but it was a lot less expensive than shooting film. So when I got the first few opportunities, I could never book the job because the cost of film alone was so great. So anytime I had an opportunity and I would have to give out estimates, I'd have to give estimates in the thousands of dollars, and no one wants to spend and invest thousands of dollars as someone that hasn't shot a wedding before. So by when digital came in, I was able to price myself low enough to kind of have an entry point, and then from there start to build a portfolio and experience and kind of go forward. But what's happened now with the technology advancing, so has our expectation of what images should look like, what people are expecting. I think,
and social media doesn't help.
No,
it helps and it doesn't help.
You know,
it has its good and bad.
So it does help.
I agree.
It push things, the level of things a lot higher. So if you look at even weddings shot in the 2000s or in the 1990s compared to the type of images you're receiving from your wedding photographer today, there's a big, huge difference. And the way we think as photographers has completely changed. So like before, as she said, wedding photographers, they had their spots, they know this works, because you cannot afford to experiment and mess up. It's expensive. It's costly. Now it's like we're on the flip side of that, where it's like you need to experiment and you need to shoot everything, because you cannot afford to miss things, because people know that they can expect these things from a professional photographer. So that's basically how
that brings us to 2020.
I know, and we're here.
And the thing that's helped a lot, so transitioning from part-time to full-time, is the other aspect of running a wedding photography business. It's not just about pictures and albums, you know, it's taking care of your clients and understanding what your clients need. So pre-production and is very important. And these were all things that I just couldn't manage to find the time to, like, it's things I knew were important, but it's not as important, obviously, as shooting the actual weddings, so showing up on. So it kind of gets, the priority list becomes, you know, I shouldn't say it's as, I think it's just as important, but it's more urgent to be at the wedding.
Right.
Less urgent to do pre-planning, but it's just as important. So by having join in the pre-planning and the follow-through after the wedding for the clients is very important. For us, for our business, the ability to advertise. So when I was doing it on my own, shoot it, deliver the job to our clients, and I'm like, they're happy, amazing, great, and
next.
And but that doesn't lead to another job.
No, necessarily.
So having her there managing Instagram or our website or finding places to advertise or get about our business really helps bringing in the next client.
That's amazing that you guys have that teamwork, because I do it all and I don't have time. It's hard.
It's very, very hard, and I commend people who are able to do it on their own. I mean, we're two people, and sometimes it gets overwhelming for me, you know. So it's the struggle. # the struggle is very real.
It's very real.
And if you're able to do it and live your dream, then you should be able to pat yourself on the back every day, even if you have a bad day, because there's no else. That's it, you know.
Like I was doing. I had a style shoot last week, and you know, you're prepping the previous week, and I have like a week and a half to plan this shoot. It was like do it right now. So I didn't post for an entire week on my Instagram, nowhere. So I'm like, people think I'm gonna die, or that I'm dead. But I didn't have time. Like I cannot think of what to post. I don't have time for this. So so I didn't post the entire week. I know that's not good, but it's hard. One of the things that I think is important, and that's one of the reasons why I brought you guys is you know, the wedding day is a blur. You know, so the only memories you're really gonna have are the images, and if you have the budget to hire a videographer, the video. That little summary of your wedding day. So to me, it's extremely important for couples to really make an effort and hire a professional photographer, because again, those are the things that you're going to come back from a bad day at your house and look at, you know, and have that memory. And that brings me to my next question. When a couple hires you guys, and we talked about this, you guys mentioned it, it's not just show up. Hey, I'm here. There's a process, right? So walk me through that process when a couple hires you. Choose you. What is your pre-production process with them?
So when a couple emails and inquires, we send them an email, and we always welcome them for an informational meeting at our home studio. We always like to meet our clients before the wedding, if possible.
That'll be great.
Just so we know. We invite them in, and we have a 45 minutes to about an hour informational session where we get to really know them and they get to know us, because we're like, they're going to be spending the day with Mher, and Mher is going to be spending the day with them. And for us, it's really important that we meet and kind of get a sense of one another, and it all comes from our own wedding experience. When we were getting married, I had Mher select the wedding photographer and the music. Those were his two jobs. And we found a husband and wife team from San Diego. They sometimes, shot weddings in LA. We had rearranged our whole day just to go to San Diego, 2 hours plus traffic. And we get there, and it's just the guy in their studio, and he sits us down and he says, well, you've already seen our website. I'm just here to answer any more questions that you have. And I was just like, and I'm ready to go, I'm like, this is the first time we're meeting you. We want to give you our money, so you could be part of our wedding day. And this is our initial reaction, our initial feeling. So Mher nicely asked a few questions. We were there maybe for 15 minutes, and then we left, and I was like, there's no way we're hiring them, because of just that first interaction. I didn't feel comfortable, and I was like, if I don't feel comfortable with them on our first meeting, how's it going to be on our wedding day? So did you want to?
No,
okay. So we eventually found another wedding photographer where we, met with her, and she was very easygoing. We felt very comfortable with her, and we ended up hiring her. And I love the pictures. I look at them every day since then. So we encourage meeting face to face, or if you're unable to, at least through Zoom or some sort of face to face interaction.
It does. So I think the meetings accomplish a few things. First of all, I think it really gives us, both the couple and us, an opportunity to see if we are compatible for each other. I know it sounds kind of like we're dating. And and I'll be honest, it's like like every photographer isn't for every couple.
Yeah.
No.
Everyone has their a slightly different approach, a slightly different demeanor. Some are a little more laid back, some are a little bit more aggressive, and it's not like one size fits all. You know, it's like,
No.
you know,
100%
like
agree.
for example, like we've done research into photographing something like an Indian wedding, and when we did the research, and it's like, it's not, they look beautiful. I'd love the opportunity to
They
shoot
are
something,
so colorful.
but
Yeah.
the pace and the attitude it takes to photograph is not in conjunction with with our, like, my demeanor,
Personality.
my natural.
Yeah.
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 So you know, but that being said, we've had couples that were Indian that were a little different than probably the norm, that were interested in hiring us. So it's like, you gotta kind of feel it out, talk, ask questions, and no. So it's like some people know it's like they need their photographer to be a director, you know, like telling everybody where to go at every moment, and they need them to be very assertive. That's generally not me. Like, I know I like to pick my spots. I'm not a completely laid back, well, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm going to pick my spots, because for us, it's I kind of see it as, I need the wedding to go in its natural flow.
To flow. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm, you know, as much as I am a perfectionist when it comes to images, I've also had to kind of learn that, you know, these imperfections sometimes can also be beautiful. So it's a balancing act. You're never going to get your, you know, thumb on it. Sometimes you go a little too much, sometimes you go too little, but it's like kind of feeling the atmosphere. So, you know, when we meet, we're kind of, they're looking at us as like, they're analyzing, are these people, but we're also looking at them as like, are we really the right person for them? So
Yeah.
even if I don't think I'm maybe the best fit for them, but they think I'm good, I know how to adapt myself and be flexible enough to understand like who this couple is, what are they valuing, what are they looking for, how to approach them. You know, are they serious people? Are they goofy people? You know, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can make some jokes if they're serious, because like those jokes aren't gonna work. And I'd rather know this, have a little bit to work with before I step in and meet you on your wedding day, where maybe you're already, most people don't realize, but on their wedding day, they're not operating. They're usually more nervous or too laid back.
Yeah.
They're not in their normal operating state.
No, not at all. And it's you're saying all that, and I'm thinking on all these weddings that I've had, and you know, couples are so different, and the way you're gonna shoot that wedding is gonna be different for each couple because of their personality.
Exactly.
So I you know, sometimes these couples try to make these Pinterest shots like,
Yes.
and it looks so unnatural. Like, don't do that, people, please. But then I have a couple that they were super goofy, and their wedding pictures are all goofy, and they're hilarious. But it's them.
It's
very,
You know, it's them.
Yeah.
So that's so that brings me to my next question. Is so. It's important. There's two things that I think are important when you hire a photographer. Is like that, you know, the personalities, there's a match there, and you understand each other, and then also your style, because there's so many couples, of course, they're not necessarily going to know because they never had a wedding before. So there are different styles of photography, and not all photographers do the same style.
Exactly.
And also different styles of editing.
Yeah.
So it's the dark and moody, the airy, colorful, flowy, la la la.
Yeah.
So and sometimes I see on the Facebook groups like, I'm looking for a photographer. Okay.
Yeah.
Information. So, and also sometimes they don't mention the budget. You know,
Right.
pricing is different from photographers to
Mm-hmm.
photographers, and it's they're different. Different reasons why, you know, experience and hours of shooting and all that.
Right.
So why do you also think that the style it's important when a couple is trying?
Well, to the comment you made, I mean, it'd be the equivalent of someone saying, "I'm looking for a couch."
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and not.
Yeah.
Is that what kind of couch do you want?
Yeah.
Well, if you
One to sit on.
Like, yeah. If you preface it like that, it's like anything can be
anything.
And if you're okay with living with those results, then
Or
that's
criteria.
fine. There are people like that. Like, I don't want to go out and judge. Some people are completely and we've had clients like that, you know, that they hired us because someone they trusted recommended us, and to be honest, like, whatever we gave them, they'd be happy with it. It's just not that important to them. But you know, to other people, that it's very important, and that's where you run into the problem. So if you say I want a couch, and you're okay with sitting on, you know, a piece of plywood with 2 pillows on it, and that's fine with you, okay, cool. You know, but if you have a vision in your head and you're not being honest with yourself, so if you want, let's say, a mid-century couch, and you say I want a couch, and someone brings you a Victorian, like, traditional couch, like, well, you're going to be unhappy. So I think when we say style, it's like being honest with yourself is probably the first step. It's like really investigate what you like and what you don't like. The best we can do as photographers is also be honest, like, about how we shoot. And I mentioned earlier before we started the interview how some photographers will say, "Oh, I can edit in any style," and that there's some truth to that. I'll cop to that. Yeah, I can. But I'll tell you this much: there are certain styles that, because these other photographers do it all the time, and it comes naturally to them, that's their own natural aesthetic, they're going to do a better job. So hiring, you can choose to hire us, and you can ask me to change my style up a little bit so that it looks more like that. And but at the end of the day, we're really doing 3 people a disservice. You're doing yourself a disservice because you're not getting the best person for the job. You're doing me a disservice because now I have to do something I don't like to do. And you're doing the other photographer a disservice because you really should be their client, you know? So like it's like one lie, it's like you're gonna hurt too many people. So it's better to do a little research and find the style that you want. For us, we always, any client we have that comes in to, like, our 2 pieces of advice are: make sure you like the style, and make sure you feel like you can get along with this person. And we try to tell them, you know, I know we understand budget is an issue, but that should be your 3rd priority. Like for us, we went outside of our budget by probably, I don't know what the percentage is, but like 10-15% over our budget to hire the photographer. But we knew that we liked her style, and we liked her personality, and she was gonna do a good job. So we made the sacrifice. It's like, for example, when we went to buy a house, our real estate agent put this triangle, right? So it's like, he goes, well, you can pick location, price, and the condition of the house. Like, those are like the 3. And it's like, you got to prioritize which 2 are more important. And I always tell people that in the photographer triangle, which is like style, personality, and price, it's like style and personality should be your priority. As much as possible. I mean,
No, I agree 100%.
I'd also add, for maybe brides and grooms who aren't used to asking themselves these kind of creative, high level creative questions, because a lot of people know what they like, but they don't know why they like it.
Right.
So I would ask, I would advise our couples, like when they're researching, really sit down and ask why you like the photo. What's drawn? Is it the location? Is it the lighting? Is it, maybe it's just the dress. There's so many different factors, going into that photo, that style, and that edit. And
And
so,
like, for example, just to get in a little bit about us, we use 3 words to kind of describe our style. So we use colorful, which is very literal meaning of the word. Like,
I'm a color.
I love color. It's prevalent in if you come to our house or our studio. It's very colorful. We like bright colors. I search for those things while I'm shooting. So the same, a different photographer at the same wedding might shy away from those areas to shoot in. So I'm gonna move so if I have a blue sky or a green grass or bright color, like colored flowers, like I'm moving my couple next to them. Some other photographer might be moving them to a white wall. Like I'm always gonna be like, I'm less interested. That just comes naturally.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like it's just something I noticed as I kept shooting, and instead of forcing myself to think differently, like I just go with what comes naturally to me. So we use we use the term heartfelt because to me, weddings are, or to us, as I say, weddings are about beyond just the photos. It's about your relationship with each other. And
everybody's different, right? And everybody likes different things. But at the end of the day, again, you want a professional that captures your beautiful day, and that you look at it and every time you look at it, even 20 years after, you're like still in love with those photos and brings you back to that moment, right?
Yes.
So you were mentioning, Mher, some things that I liked. Well, I liked everything you guys been saying. I'm like, let's keep talking. I love it. So that, there are sad moments, happy moments, but you also, within your natural style, you gravitate towards colors, and that's all part of your style, the way you work.
Their aesthetic,
Thank you. Your aesthetic as a wedding photographer. And that brings me to my next question. Sometimes couples, because they think they have a photographer friend, they think that photographer friend can do their photos. No. And I'm going to be honest with all of you. I'm looking at the camera right now. Please don't do that. Your friend that is a lifestyle photographer or that loves to take photos of the sunset at the beach doesn't have experience doing weddings. Hair. Why is that so important? And I think we've already talked about it. We already talked about it, but let's talk about it again.
Well, so one of the little side jobs I have, actually teach photography at a community college. So I teach wedding photography as well. And being a wedding photographer, I call it, in my class, I had this thing where it's like, they're just saying it's like jack of all trades, master of none.
Master of none.
And I go like, with wedding photography, it's like, you got to be, like, if you're a jack of all trades in photography, you could be a master wedding photographer. So if you're a lifestyle photographer, or even if you're a product photographer, like, there's so much you need to know from all the different disciplines within photography. So I always think, you gotta, as a wedding photographer, to be at the top of the game, you gotta understand a little bit of documentary, photojournalism, photography. You gotta understand portrait photography. You gotta understand a little product photography, because they're gonna want you to shoot the flowers. You're gonna want to shoot the rings. You want to shoot the shoes. So you're shooting objects as well, not just people. And then you gotta shoot spaces. You gotta shoot the venue. and at the end of it all, you got to know how to tie all these things into one thing and one cohesive story. So you got to be a storyteller at the end of the day.
Storyteller,
So
yes.
and you got to, on top of it, be an extremely fast thinker. Like, people don't realize how much how quickly you have to work as a wedding photographer. You don't have the luxury. Like, when I shoot products, I can take an hour lighting something. It's my own time, and if it takes 2 hours, well, I just cut my fee in half, or whatever, because it took longer than it should have. But I'm affecting no one but myself,
Yeah.
But if you're in a wedding and you're taking twice as long to shoot something, well, you just cost your wedding coordinator some money, you cost your couple some money, because the venue is going to charge more. The DJ is now upset at you because you made their job tougher. The videographer is frustrated because, like, they don't have time to get their shots. So the other skill with wedding photography that's, like, really underrated is you got to know how to deal with people. It's not just taking photos.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to, we're kind of end up being this liaison between, you're working within a team. So you have your wedding coordinator or wedding planner, you have your DJ, your videographer, venue, and then like the florist. So it's like, you got to work with all these people and satisfy all of their needs. Plus, you got to make sure you're not neglecting your couple's needs.
Yeah.
So, and you got to stay on schedule. That's another big thing.
Yeah, I'll make sure you stay on schedule.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing with hiring a professional wedding photographer, I always say, document every step of the way and get good, usable photos from the beginning to the end. So from the prep, the details, the ceremony, the family portraits, the portraits of the bride and groom, you got to be able to get good photos every step of the way and have photos that tie it all together.
Yeah.
Tell one story.
Yeah, like a story. And go ahead.
On that note, though, for couples who have that friend or cousin, and they don't want to disappoint them, they're more than welcome to. I mean, we've had.
We do.
Yeah.
Other photographers.
I'm not talking about for other photographers, but for us, I mean, they're more than welcome to tag along and photograph, so they have that experience, and they're also, like, not being shut out. But at the same time, the couple has us as their, like, professional photographer.
Yeah.
Just say it this way: the best analogy I have for photography, in some sense, is like, think of it as buying insurance coverage. So, would you buy a house, $1 million house, and not get any insurance on it? Like, you're spending all that money. So think about your entire wedding budget. So you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars, and then you don't want to spend a few extra $1,000 to hire a competent wedding photographer.
Yeah.
Would you do that? You wouldn't do that with your house, right? Like, you wouldn't. Like,
absolutely not.
You could.
Yeah.
I know. And one more thing I wanted to add on the hiring a professional wedding photographer. There's no redos.
Yeah.
If you hire or have a friend and that friend missed that moment on your ceremony, you're kind of like, can you do that again? There's no redos.
Yeah.
So
also,
you guys need to be ready. Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
And also, I mean, there have been times where, we photograph a couple and we realize, oh my God, we don't have a photograph with the bride and her mom, and so we make sure that we
that happens. Yes.
Because the bride isn't thinking these things. The wedding planner has his own, like, tasks and responsibilities. So they rely on us to help, think.
Yeah. Hey, Mher, I know you have your pros and cons of having a second shooter.
Right.
We talked a little bit about that before we start the actual interview. So I want to hear what you have to say.
So it's just going to flow in from the last discussion we were having. So second shooter is like adding extra insurance onto your wedding. So
For sure.
because as well prepared and knowledgeable as I am, things can happen. Um, and I've seen it happen. So with bigger with bigger jobs, bigger weddings, you're talking 300, 500 guests. You have things going on in two different locations. It's very important to have a second shooter, maybe a third shooter. So, but I also think it goes with the scale of your wedding, and with how much you're spending. Now, one argument I've heard from other photographers, and I didn't really think about it. It's like there's been times like if you have a second photographer, like imagine God forbid something happened to me as I'm shooting the wedding. I sprained my ankle, or and I can't continue. Now you have someone that can at least step in and cover the rest of the day without
missing a beat.
Missing a beat. Now, what is the con for having a second photographer? And as much as there's been a trend, I feel, of like bigger and bigger wedding production, we've also noticed a trend to sometimes smaller and smaller micro weddings.
That's happening now. Oh yeah.
I love them so much.
I just love it. I love intimate weddings too.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say is like, it's great to have a second, but sometimes with smaller events, you have an extra person getting in the people's way. So, you shouldn't, like if you have a 50-person wedding, having two photographers can seem overwhelming. Sometimes even at a 50-person wedding, I feel like I'm getting in people's way. Because like they're there to have a good time, and there's this person floating around everywhere, snap, 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 snap. So like I have to remember, like with smaller events, like I need to back up just a little bit, slow down just a little bit, and let them enjoy and have a good time. So this is something we talk to our couples about when we meet with them.
Yeah.
But that being said, like there's very seldomly times where I recommend a third. Like usually I think two really well-trained, knowledgeable photographers is all you're gonna need. I mean, there are definitely huge weddings of like 500 plus people, like you could use it. But I've also seen in our wedding community, people show up with 5 or 6 photographers, and to me, it just becomes.
No.
What are you shooting?
I mean,
like.
Yeah, it just becomes
big black wall.
Yeah, and it's like there's more people getting in the way of the guests actually enjoying and having a good time. So it's a balancing act,
It's a judgment call.
So it's that's why I say it's like I'm not the type of some people you always have to have. I don't believe that. Like I believe like there's times where I think it's a really good idea to have a second photographer, and then there's times where I think you can get away with just one, and then there's times where I think it's a really bad idea to have a second photographer. So, depending on the size of your wedding, decide that you're going.
Yeah. Priorities.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys can help them through if they have that question. Should I have a second? Should I not? You can probably explain the reasons why.
We have like sort of rough guidelines. Like we'll ask them and we'll adjust. But like and with every photographer is going to be a little different. So I've shot a lot of large scale weddings, so I'm a lot more comfortable operating within a large scale. So if you have a wedding photographer that's hasn't shot as much, and you're making them go from like they're comfortable at 200 people and now they have to shoot 400, then definitely you should get a second. Our number usually is like we'll say anything above 400 guests, you should definitely consider a second photographer. And if you're having events like in our community, we'll have some time that there's a lot going on at the bride's house and at the same time at the groom's house. So you have you kind of have a mini party at the bride's house, a mini party at the groom's house, and then the groom's house. All of those people are going to get in their car and come to the bride's house, and then we're gonna have a mini wedding before the ceremony at the bride's house.
Rehearsal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Photographers
in that
there for sure.
situation, I always go like, all right, you're gonna have to get a second because
To just follow
to
you
start with
around.
the guide.
Yeah.
I'll start with the bride, so I'll get there and do all the detail shots and the beauty shots of the bride, and then the second photographer is shooting the groom and the groomsmen, getting those shots, and then we'll follow them as they come. So and then we have, once there's 100 to 150 people in one little house, yeah.
Wow.
I can't get. What happens is
It's fun. I wanna do a wedding like that.
Yeah.
But what happens a lot of times, like I'll get cornered into one corner and I can't move around.
So many people.
So many. So that's another thing with like larger weddings, like when you have 500 people in one of those like gigantic halls, like I can't, like, even though I know it's like I need to be here for this first shot and I need to get to the next shot. I know what the next angle is. I don't sometimes have the time to run across, or if I'm running across, I have to run across so fast that I become a distraction. I can't do it discreetly.
Yeah, and
it's like dangerous. That is, to have two people, it's like we'll know. It's like I'm here, you're there, and I'll get this.
We know what we're doing. Yeah. All right, so I have two more questions. They're not photography related, but just to know you guys a little better. The first one is, what is your favorite food? What's your favorite Atina, and what's your favorite Mher? Like,
okay, when you say food, do you mean like breakfast, lunch, dinner?
I think
like real food.
I think if I could only have like one cuisine for the rest of my life, it would be sushi.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sushi's good.
Mexican close second though.
Okay.
That's like it's
okay.
Yeah.
Sushi is number 2 on my list.
All right, and what's number 1?
I'm a homegrown child, so Middle Eastern food.
But like any, or there's something specific like you like?
My favorite restaurant's in Glendale. It's called Carousel. They have a location in Hollywood too, and my favorite dish within cuisine is what you were asking. I think it's called chikofta, Armenians refer, and Lebanese people will refer it as kabinaya.
Okay.
And it's basically
steak
tartare, so it's like basically ground raw meat mixed in with some spices, heavily spiced.
Okay.
Heavily spiced.
And like
heavily. She said heavily like 20 times.
Yeah. Because I don't want people to think like we're just picking up raw meat and putting it in. No, there's a process.
The closest thing I can think of with most people have eaten kind of similar is like what spicy tuna is in sushi.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like that texture and flavor comes close.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like ground meat?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've seen something similar. I don't know if
it's really good.
It's very good.
And the number one reason I will never become a vegetarian.
Oh, me neither. Oh my God, don't do that. You kill me. No, I'm sorry, I need my meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, how about a favorite cocktail?
We're not big drinkers.
Yeah, we're not big drinkers. The cocktails that I like
drink. Something that you like to have.
Okay, coffee.
I'm a huge coffee snob. Like that's not even a thing.
She prioritizes the type of beans that are used.
Yeah.
And I prioritize the barista.
Well, I'm a coffee drinker too. Like I open my eyes and I need to have coffee. Otherwise, I'm in a bad mood the entire day. Yeah. And I have to have Colombian coffee, which is the most similar to Venezuelan. Like, don't give me that watery thing. I can't. So I get it. When you guys have your thing, you have your thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a huge coffee snob. I know all the best coffee shops in Los Angeles in any zip code. So if anybody needs like I want to go to a coffee shop in, I don't know, Culver City, let's say, I at least know 2. At any
neighborhood.
Any neighborhood.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I have certain criteria.
Yeah.
and then they need to meet. Yeah.
Think about 1 or 2 in Pasadena, and we have to do a coffee date.
Okay.
Yeah. To me, the barista, I've had people, I've gone to coffee shops that I've liked, and just depending on who's working that day, like I know if I'm gonna enjoy my cup of coffee or not.
Wow, that's very specific.
Because like the way you pack I like to have lattes, and the way they pack the espresso for one makes it different on how it tastes, and some people the way they froth or steam the milk. People that burn the milk, and like you kind of lose the flavor of the milk once it's burned.
I'm not an expert, but I know when it's this is not like now.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
You guys, you're the coffee snobs.
Yeah.
And when we travel, like she has like a list. We're going to these 5 coffee
like
shops.
Research prior.
Oh yeah.
Like people are foodies. She's a coffee snob.
Yeah. People want to see landmarks. I want to go to specific coffee shops because of X, Y, and Z.
And we plan like when we travel, like we'll plan our days. Like first we're gonna go to this coffee shop, and then we're gonna do what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we usually have 1 cup of coffee normally,
for the day,
on like regular days. But when we're traveling, it's like 1 in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah. And then I'll always buy like a bag of coffee from our trip so that we can enjoy it at home. From the local roaster of wherever we're traveling. Because I mean we're local, we're mom and pop, esque businesses, and if I can do that for someone else, like when we're traveling, why not?
Yeah. Like when I went to so my family is from Costa Rica, my mom's side of the family. The last time I went to Costa Rica, I just came back with I don't know how many bags of coffee.
Yeah. What's the place that we
went there for our honeymoon? So
God, yes.
It's like such a special place in our heart.
You have to tell me when you remember.
We did a coffee plant tour because that's how obsessed we are.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I did one too in Arenal, like over there.
And was it 3 Generations?
Yeah, Third Generation.
The coffee plant, and the one that we became in love with was this. It was called 3 Generations, or I don't know how to translate it in Spanish.
Yeah.
Tres generaciones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They have a website. We've even like every few years, like we'll miss it. I'll just go and order it, like have it shipped here.
Oh my God, that's awesome! I love that.
When we came back for the first year, she would brew the coffee and.
I still have it.
Yeah.
I bought like a little contraption with the sock,
and
I would pour it, and I had my little Costa Rica. I should bring that back.
Yes.
I should bring that. I have it.
It's the best. I remember, like, sorry, people from the United States, don't hate me. When they started, with the brewer thing, the coffee thing, when it became here a thing, I was like,
yeah,
what with that? Like, when?
I'm like, how is this new? This is
how is this
technology
new?
that's existed for.
That's how I make my coffee at home.
And you need like a nice old sock that's like got the oil in it already.
Yeah, because I'm from Venezuela. I was born in there, but my grandma and my mom are Costa Ricans.
Yeah.
So we always had la media every morning. That's what how they made the coffee. So anyways, my last question.
Yes.
I just want to keep talking, you guys, but I also want to be mindful of our time. Where can people find you if they want to know more about you or you guys, or contact you for a wedding photography, or if they have any questions?
They can find us on our website, mhervahakenphoto.com, our Instagram with the same handle, mhervahakenphoto, and they can also email us, mhervahakenphoto@gmail.com.
And that's spelled MHERVAHAKN. And if anyone's interested in like my non-wedding work, I also have mehervahaken.com without the photo. Has all my commercial and product photography, headshot.
Oh, awesome. And I will put all that below
Yeah.
here in the description, so you guys can just click on it and go directly to the link. And so yes, guys, hire a professional wedding photographer.
I think in life, if you just hire professionals for whatever it is you need,
whatever,
you're gonna be much better off.
No,
Professional doctors, professional dentists.
I know, but I think, you know, it's important, and that's one of the reasons why I started doing these interviews, is because, you know, when you're planning your wedding, and you guys just said it, you know, it's your first time, you don't know a lot of things, and I know budget is very, you know, sometimes it's a little tight, so and so we don't think, and then we want to have the tia being the coordinator, and then the cousin doing the photography, because, you know, they don't have a lot of
the means.
Hope that couples that watch this understand that it's not that we want you to spend all these thousands of dollars. It's just because, you know, work from a professional will show, you know.
Yes.
And we, like, for us, like, I always try to explain to our couples, like, the amount of work, you know, because they'll see us do the work on the day of, you know, but there's a lot of work that goes in beforehand with Latina, because she'll meet with everyone to kind of figure and email and correspond with the wedding planner, correspond with the DJ, correspond with the videographer. So we're kind of more on the same page before we even start the wedding.
Yeah.
We know where we're going. And then there's all this work that goes in post-production. So we will look through all the photos afterward. And that takes a lot of time to sort through thousands of photos and pick the best one and then color correct, crop it. So it's like, when you're looking at photos, you're looking at final products. You're not looking at
and that's something that sometimes for us in the wedding industry, I think is couples don't understand. They think, like, for me, for example, I get inquiries like, I'm looking for a day coordinator. Like, yeah, but I don't do day off. I cannot just show up the day of your wedding and manage a wedding. I need to meet you. We need to work on the timeline. So all these hours prior to the wedding, 20, 30 hours, you know, prep work. And then for you, it's the same. You know, if they hire you for 8 hours, don't think that it's only the 8 hours your photographer is going to be there and take the photos. It's all the prep, the pre-communication, you know, with you guys, communication with the planner, communication with the venue. Those are hours of work. And then the hours you guys spend editing the photos to deliver the final product, you know, there is not 8 hours. It's way more than that. So what you're paying for is, you know, a lot of hours of work to deliver to you the best wedding photos ever.
On average, we've kind of figured out that every hour that we spend at shooting, we spend 4 hours afterwards for every hour. That's the average.
Yeah.
There's a lot more work than just the day of.
I mean, we're also for every hour we shoot, we deliver anywhere from 80 to 100 images. But on the day of,
we're shooting like 400 or 500 per hour.
Yeah,
so
and
you have like.
I have to first pick.
You have to pick, because you're not going to send them 3,000 images.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the difference between us and other photographers. I mean, it's we put that responsibility on us to deliver, to go through, sort, and select the best photos, because we have the eye for it. He's been trained in it, and it's our job to do it. It's unfair to take all of these images, 3,000, 5,000 images, and then saddle the client with selecting the images that they want to then be processed.
And that's why your photographer will take some time to deliver the photos to you. You cannot have the photos a week after. They'll send you a sneak peek, because, you know, it's always
fine.
But it's impossible for them, after all those photos they have taken, to pick them, edit it, and send it to you a week or 2 weeks away. That's why it takes so long for them to get back to you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You get it. You know.
One more thing I wanted to mention, and this is related to why you have to hire a professional. It's like, even if you are hiring a friend, please have a contract signed.
Yes.
I have some horror stories. I don't want to scare you guys, but then, you know, you want to have a contract in place.
Yes.
Always, with any vendor, even if it's a friend.
Yes.
Because
and also to that, like, meet with your vendors at least once.
Yes.
You know, before.
Yes.
I mean, it's even if you're hiring a wedding planner, just meet the vendors that are going to, you know, be working on your wedding at least once.
Oh, yes, please do. Yeah, you have to. You have to.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So thank you again. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
So excited. Thank you. Well, I hope you guys have a great day. And I hope to see you guys soon. I know we're in the middle of this craziness right now, pandemic, whatever.
This will pass too.
This will pass, yes. Yeah. And then we're gonna go back to big weddings, especially as those you guys love doing. Thank you so much again, and have a great day. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Gracias for tuning in. If this video was valuable for you, make sure to comment and like below. And of course, subscribe. See you next week. Bye.